Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. This time I'm going to be reviewing none other than It Chapter 2. I've been waiting a long time for this movie. I've been excited about it ever since seeing the first one. I really enjoyed the first one, having grown up and watched a TV series as a kid, and definitely I can remember being one of the more frightening aspects of my childhood. Uh, Seeing it, again as an adult in theaters, and to see it, what I thought was really well done, was very, kind of powerful experience just for me. And so I was really excited to see the second chapter and see, see them how they close this out, and you know, see if they could hold that same essence that they had in the first one. I start off by saying it has a 61% score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 81% audience score. I'll give you my rating right off the bat. I give it a 7 out of 10. And I'll tell you why. So one thing that this film does, that I think that it does right, is I think it gets the cast right. Really great cast of characters, headed by James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain, Bill Hader. Really good cast of characters. I think they had a bunch of camaraderie, a bunch of charm, and I think it really fit in well from looking at It Chapter 1 and seeing them as adults. And I think you could see kind of like a logical progression between each of them as kids into how they were as adults. And so on that point, I really liked it. It seemed like they kept that continuity, and they kept it pretty well. I also thought that it really got Pennywise right, as far as really getting into some different aspects of his character. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it, that I really think characters make films, and villains make films, and Pennywise is nothing if not memorable. And I think that Skarsgård does a really good job portraying him, and I really like that they made Pennywise nuanced, as in he's not just your carbon copy villain, or your cookie board cutter type villain, or your standard monster that you see. No, there are a lot of different aspects to him. And just the things that he does, the way that he presents himself, what aspects of his personality he tries to show. I really enjoyed that. I like that they kind of flesh out his character a little bit more. They showed a little bit of his history, kind of where he came from. I do wish it kind of went into that a little bit more, maybe stayed in that area a little bit longer, because I thought that was one of the more interesting things about the film was, just what he is, and where he's coming from. But like I said, overall, I thought they did it well. But one of the biggest differences that I note between this film and the first one is you can really even sense it early on in the movie, is that there's a definite tone change. Whereas the first one really, I thought did a really good job of, trying to scare you. It can't do everything that it wants to, because it has to introduce Pennywise as a character. It's the first film, so you have to do a lot of introductions. As far as, okay, here's the lore, here's this character, here's what he's capable of. So I felt that it was kind of restrained in a bit, as most origin movies are. When something is meant to be a franchise and not a standalone movie, a lot of them are hindered at first, because they have so much story to tell, but they first have to do introductions. And so I thought they were handcuffed a little bit, but they ultimately did a great job of introducing him and saying, this is what he's capable of, and this is what he's about. And I was really waiting for them to, kind of ramp that up in this movie. And instead of that, they really went for, instead of ramping up what we saw in the first, we're going to do a complete tone shift. Whereas the first one, like I said, really focused, I thought, on horror. This one was more of a really fun movie. Definitely very entertaining. You know, I'm not saying that you wouldn't be entertained to see this movie. I thought, you know, it was great. It kept you entertained throughout. Definitely kept you wondering what's going to happen next. You're engaged throughout the entire movie. But there is a lot of humor in this film, a lot more than I would expect. And even the situations in which the humor is introduced. Not to say that it doesn't work, but in some scenes that you would expect to be, you know, horrifying and scary, you know, there's humor interjected into that kind of, you know, dissolves the tension of the moment, and you know, it makes it, you know, funny. Which, like I say, the jokes don't fall flat. So, you know, I'm not saying that it's not funny. I'm not saying it's not entertaining, but you know, as far as that horror aspect, I thought that was missing a little bit. I'm not sure why. You know, they kind of went for this tone change. You know, Vice, you know, making it horrible, you know, or horrifying. But like, you can definitely sense it. It's something. Even though I haven't seen the first one since it came out, I saw it twice in theaters, and I haven't seen it since it came out. But you can, even having seen it then, you can definitely tell that there's a difference between the second one and the first one in terms of tone. Not to say that this movie doesn't have its frightening sequences. There are a couple scenes that I thought that were really well done, really scary. You know, not just jump scares, but you know, scares that resonate with you. But as a whole, you know, there's a lot of jokes, a lot of humor, a lot of laughs. It's like they went and said, okay, this movie is going to be meant to entertain you. Vice, you know, scared the living daylights out of you. So I think if you go in and expecting that, like, I think that you'll rate it higher. That's why I think that, you know, 81% of audience goers, you know, really enjoyed this film. Vice, you know, 61% of critics. But like I said, I give it a 7 out of 10 because while I think it's a great movie, I think it's an entertaining movie. You know, as a horror movie, it kind of falls flat a little bit. It's definitely very interesting. Like I say, the character of Pennywise is interesting. His motivations are interesting. The way he does what he does and why he does it is interesting. I do wish they could have fleshed it out a little bit more. But like I said, as a movie, it works. As a horror movie, a little bit falls flat. Not, like I say, I don't mean fall flat and saying that it doesn't work at all. It just doesn't work. And I think when you preface it against what number one was, if you think of these films as a type of package deal, you look at it and say, okay, this one wasn't quite the same as that one. If this had been, you know, if this It Too had been like its own standalone movie, you would walk away from it saying, oh wow, you know, that was an awesome movie. You know, it was entertaining, it was scary. You know, it kept me engaged, and you know, it had this really cool main villain. But as when you buttress it up against the first one, like, okay, wow, that was scary. You know, that definitely had, you know, some things I hadn't seen before. Like I said, it's just that difference. But anyway, I can definitely see this as being one of my more polarizing views. Like I said, I give it a 7 out of 10. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you think this was terrifying, if you thought it was lame, if you thought both It movies were lame, you know, let me know. Like I said, I can definitely see a lot of people having different opinions about this film. Because I know this one is very popular. I think so far it's got 91 million opening weekend. So this is a very popular film. I expect a lot of conflicting opinions. That's just my take. So once again, 7 out of 10. Still recommend seeing it in theaters. It's still an event. It's still very entertaining. I would just say don't go in expecting to be, you know, terrified and coming out, you know, like, but anyways, thanks for watching once again, guys. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate you guys' support. See you guys on the next film. Thank you.